Hi, today we're going to talk about making cafe latte, or just plain latte as some of you might know it. What we have here in the way of equipment today, we have a Seiko espresso machine. This is kind of a bottom of the line home espresso machine. I say bottom of the line strictly because it's not automatic. It is definitely manual. It does have a boiler, which is very important as opposed to just a steam generator machine. Probably the one thing it does not have that would be important, perhaps, is a centrifuge, which allows the machine to suck the water back out of your portafilter and leave you with that well-known coffee puck. This machine does not have that, so consequently, when it's done making the espresso, the grounds are still wet. They'll be tightly packed in the portafilter, but you'll have to dig it out, as I do. But you know what? This is a home machine, and that's quite all right. You don't have to have all the fancy stuff that you would have if you were going to a coffee shop. All right, so we've got our espresso machine. We've got our frothing cup. We have our little espresso pitchers. I've got my coffee tamper. I have my dosing spoon, grinder, and espresso. And I'm just going to be using a mug that you might have in your house. It's a 12-ounce mug. And you can either use 1 or 2 shots of espresso for this. Now, it depends on how strong you like your latte. The normal measurement for this particular cup would be 1 shot of espresso. So that, again, depends on how strong you like it. So, I'm a soy milk drinker, so I use good old, there we go, silk soy. We'll give it some plugs there. I use silk soy. I prefer that. Now, keep in mind that if you use soy milk, there are a lot of different kinds out there. This one happens to have the vanilla flavoring, which makes it just a little bit different. You can use, as a rule, the skim milk is used for lattes, for your cappuccinos, because it has a little bit less fat in it than your whole milk, which, being able to texturize the milk and heat it and produce the foam, this works great. Your whole milk has just a little bit too much fat content, and when you're preparing the milk, it doesn't really work quite as well as the skim milk. At least that is the industry norm, if you will. So, the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and grind my espresso beans. So, let's go ahead and get a scoop of espresso beans. There we go. And we're going to stick that in the grinder. And I'm going to make sure that I've got my grinder set on the espresso grind. There we go. Let's get that around here. That's where I want it. And we'll go ahead and grind that. And as you can see, that doesn't take a great long time. Now, next thing I'm going to be doing is heating up my milk. And you always want to heat your milk first because it will stay hot longer than if you're actually trying to do that after you've made your espresso. Now, you can use one of these little digital thermometers that you can pick up at just nearly any drugstore, or not drugstore, but you'll have drugstore too these days, supermarket. And the reason for this is to be able to know how hot your milk is. You can, of course, put your hand on this thing when it's steaming and you'll get burned. But you want to keep your milk between 140 and 160 degrees. And again, usually by the time that your heat has gotten up to 140, 145, you want to shut your steam down because it will continue to rise. There's actually more heat in there than what you might imagine. So, having said that, we're going to get some good old soy milk here. Now, I'll tell you what, if you are a soy milk user, one thing you've either learned, or if you haven't, you need to understand, you need to shake it up. Because soy milk does have a tendency to settle, and you probably would rather get a full dosage of your milk as opposed to just a whole lot of sediment that you'll find in soy milk. All right. Now, so first thing we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to steam the milk. Now, I've got my steamer already, my heat already heated up. My steam is ready to go. So, first thing I'm going to do actually is run some water through my portafilter to heat that up. So, you'll see that coming out here in just a second. not there. Alright, and all I'm doing is just heating up my portafilter so that it's the same temperature as everything else going on here. And in just a minute we'll go ahead and be putting grounds in there to make the espresso. Alright, now, so here we go. We're going to heat up the, this is for my steam button, okay, and I'm going to turn on my steam. And we're going to get the handy dandy thermometer here so I can check and see how hot it's getting. Once it hits up to 85, now it's 90, and we're climbing. It goes real fast, especially when you're not doing any more than a cup of milk, which is approximately what I have in here. There's 105. And 110. You see how fast it heats it up. There's 120. 130. And here's 140. And I'm going to shut it down. Okay. All right. Now you always want to keep something wet handy to wipe off your frothing spout, because you don't want milk clogging up your outlet for the steam. Okay? So in this case I just keep a wet paper towel around. And let's see what our temperature is. Okay, well actually it's 156, if you can see that. 156 is the 157 is the temperature on the milk. Okay, now time for the coffee, the espresso. Okay, and I know exactly, I've already measured the amount of espresso I'm putting in here, so what I'm doing is just going ahead and adding that in. And remember, I'm only doing enough for one shot of espresso. Okay. And tamp it down in there. Not necessary to push hard. You just want to compact it in there so that you get a good even distribution of water throughout the espresso. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and run our espresso through. Okay, got my little shot cup under there. And here we go. And this only takes a few seconds. You don't want your pull as a rule to be any more than 23 seconds. Now, this machine is capable of doing that. And here we go. Run through there, and it'll fill up your cup just about to the top and turn it off. Okay. And that is just exactly enough for a shot of espresso. So we're going to put that in here. Put that in first, and then we'll follow that up with the milk. Now, if you were a real barista in a coffee shop, you'd be using a spoon to hold the foam back. And then you would get a spoon, which I just happen to have a spoon right here. And we're going to clean it off here just a tad. And what we're going to do next is just add the foam to the top of the latte. See that nice foam? There we go. Just spoon that out right on top. Now, a barista would take that and just make all sorts of wonderful designs in there. But you know what? I'm not going to do that because I'm going to drink it and just enjoy it. But there you have it. There is your latte. There you can see it just a little bit. I don't want to spill it, but I'll tell you what, folks. This is good stuff. And it can all be done on this little home espresso machine. This is made by Seiko. It's called the Aroma. That's last year. Oh yeah, by the way, let's try this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is what it's all about.